Hello everyone, it is I, Mark Major, and you have reached the Action Figuratorium. You can see it right there behind me. It is a gorgeous site. Today we're going to be doing another marketing analysis. That's right, I'm an old school sales and marketing cat hunkered down here in a video studio facility, Southeast Portland. And we're going to be doing another marketing analysis of a action figure Kickstarter. This is actually a comic book character, but what's interesting is that the toy production side of it is being handled by Executive Replicas and Loose Collector, the people that bring you the 6-inch sort of $75 Lady Death and She action figures, of which I have a review of one that I purchased here on the channel. These are some good-looking figures, and this is also a good-looking figure, and it's very Halloween. This is Zombie Tramp action figure, and you guys might dig this. So, you know, come together, strap on your leather, and hold on tight. Let us cut over, shall we, to desktop view. Here we go. Exciting. So, Kickstarter, Zombie Tramp action figure, looking for only $15,000. How is that possible? This is easily like a $60,000 minimum mold, but who knows? Maybe this mold already exists. Maybe this character was really cheap and easy to put together, or maybe the person doing the comic had all the money really kind of that they needed. The person doing this action figure, the comic book behind it, had the money they needed, but they just wanted to use this as maybe some kind of PR, or maybe use this to sort of see how much kind of pre-orders they could get. Or who knows, maybe they only needed a few extra bucks to kick this off. Don't know, not sure what the story is behind that. Doesn't matter though. We're gonna look and see what this campaign is all about, and I'm actually gonna go through the campaign first. So, it's Still Ill Comics. Never heard of them, never heard of this character. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's probably got plenty of fans. There's a lot of niche content out there all the time, available for everybody. And there's a lot of stuff, probably most stuff, you don't even know exists. So we have the Zombie Tramp action figure, and it is of the 6-inch scale. And it comes with 28 points of articulation, comes with like a little accessory, Book of the Dead, has an alternate head, has an alternate chest, which I believe is nude, has 2 fists, 2 open hands, 2 grip hands, 2 action hands, and a hunger for flesh. That's probably a joke, but I don't know, maybe there's a physical hunger for flesh in there. I'd have to see. That's not all. So then you get lots of comic book. Here's what the packaging looks like, by the way. This is kind of cool. This is actually sort of the very first time I've ever seen a Kickstarter that out of the gates showed what the packaging looked like. I almost never see packaging, and I don't think people care what the packaging is. To be honest, some of these figures could just come in a plastic bag, but the main figure is 69 bucks, and there's a version of her bloody that is $100, and then there's a version of her black, white, and red that is also 100 bucks, and there is this package already sold out for $222 instead of 269 bucks, so you say about 40 bucks or so-ish on this. You get all 3. Kind of cool. But look at the amount of add-ons they have. These are all kind of comic book stuff. There's all these various covers for a comic book, right? We got variant, censored, uncensored. Then there's some coins, right? Remember, I always talk about how you can pad out your Kickstarters with tchotchkes like shirts and hats and beanies and wristbands and headbands and coins and keychains and ashtrays. Actually, I haven't seen ashtrays. Ashtrays would be cool. Put that down. Put it down. Okay. There's a $100 statue. It's a 12-inch statue. Okay. More stuff. Some stretch goals. Things I've unlocked. Some anniversary cards. There's a little $30 kind of a fake diorama backdrop, which may or may not be a good deal. More anniversary cards. Prints, 11 by 17 prints, so a lot of tchotchkes. If we go to the actual rewards, cheapest thing you can buy, $5 PDF. 69 bucks for an action figure. $100 if you want the black, white, and red edition. If you wanted the blood splattered one, there was only available to 100, sold out. And the limited $100 black, white, red edition, 89 backers. There's 11 of these left. I predict, and this is hardly a prediction, but I predict it will sell out. I think that's going to sell out too, meaning if you want a zombie action figure at this point and you haven't pledged, you're going to have to pay 69 bucks and just get the plain Jane standard one. The others are limited edition deluxe is gone. The take all three for $222, limited to 200 gone. I don't know what the deal is with having limited quantities in something like this. It seems like people's problem is they're unable to sell enough of something. That is, they cannot get enough people to buy the thing. If you have a thing, and it's a kind of a pre-order, like you haven't gone to production yet, if it's a kind of a thing that you could just sell tons of all the time, then why would you limit it? Why would you limit it? Or maybe it could be by the fact that they limited it, that they created that demand that caused it to sold out. That is, if it wasn't limited, it was unlimited quantities, maybe no one, or maybe not as many people would have bought it. But that is kind of a bit of a psychological deal, a marketing deal, and I'm going to note it with this Kickstarter. Making limited edition product can sometimes drive demand, or you could be losing money. I get the feeling that these things are going to be at Big Bad Toy Store. They will. And I get the feeling that if you really want some of these blood splattered or rare ones, you're going to be able to get them. I mean, from the guys. It's not going to be like, yeah, I had to go as a reseller on eBay or a convention and I paid 500 bucks. No, you'll be able, there'll be a window, you'll be able to get it. Trust me. A lot of these are made also, a lot of these fall off the backs of trucks. Pay attention to the proper eBay channels and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, should we talk about this thing that I always do, and I know people hate it, okay? You're allowed to hate. Best practices of crowdfunding. It's really just a chance to plug my other videos, specifically the video called Marketing Essentials 101, in which I came up with these best practices. Very simple. You have to have a cheap standard thing. You got to have a mid-price deluxe thing. You got to have a high-price luxury thing. Second of all, you need a wide selection of stuff, of figures, of toys, of tchotchkes, of posters, all that kind of stuff pads it out. Plus that kind of junk coloring books and shit like that, that's easy to get printed up here in the good old USA and ship it out the day of. Day of. It doesn't cost that much. You could just be a dude who works a day job and you could have excess money left over. Instead of buying a PlayStation 5, you could get a bunch of coloring books and then send them out. And then, of course, put all your Kickstarter marketing stuff, blah, 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 which, you know, I've seen many campaigns where I was just confused by, I didn't know the scale, I didn't know the articulation, I didn't know if this was, you know, and I had to go looking around for stuff. Most people are pretty good about this, but you'd be surprised if there's questions that people have about your product and they can't find the answer on the Kickstarter page, they're not going to go looking, chances are. They're not going to go looking, they're going to walk away. And they might come back later and see if it's updated, but they might not. So that is the deal with those 3 rules. Let's get rid of it. Just don't need that. Okay, so these guys, their cheapest thing is really this $5 short story. That's not a standard action figure, but I get it. If you wanted a shirt or a hat or the comic books or stuff, the only way you could get them is either A, buying the figure for 60 bucks, B, you spend $5 on the print, and then as an add-on, you go over here and you add your anniversary cover A, or your challenge coin B, or your, you know, toy print D, or whatever they got cooking. Which, by the way, this doesn't look bad. This is not a bad-looking hunk of plastic. We'll talk about the quality in just a sec here. So if you want to get in on this, on some extras of the stuff, you got to pay the $5 for the PDF up front, but that's not too bad. Also, if you're one of these cats who wants to get one of these, but you're not really committed right now, you'd like to kick the can down the road a little bit, you'd like to just see like, yeah, you know, I'm going to wait. Well, you plunk down the $5 for the digital one. When it closes, you're baked in, and you can go back later and manage your pledge and add on action figures if you're baked in to that Kickstarter. So some people might take advantage of that, might just throw $5 into this and say, yeah, give me the PDF. PDF could be good too. It might actually be a good piece of cut. You might enjoy it. There may be a chance in your life to really enjoy something, okay? Maybe get the PDF, skip the figure. So what do I think of the figure? By the way, if you didn't see the number up here because I'm kind of blocking it, let's see if I can scroll it down a little bit with my... They've already got $157,000, right, out of only needing 15,000. They really needed about 60,000, let's be honest. But they may have had some resources available to them. I have the She action figure from Executive Replicas Loose Collector, and it's a good figure, right? But it had some stupid problems with it. One was that the quality of the joints and the plastic, while was good and quite posable, wasn't any better than Marvel Legends, than like that Black Widow Target exclusive, wasn't any better than that. It wasn't like a Figma or a Bandai Figure Arts Kamen Rider guy or a Mezco, right, Gomez or any of those where it's just a buck and some sort of weird insect head. It wasn't as good as those. It was Marvel Legends quality, which is 20 to 30 bucks depending upon how many heads and arms and guns and shit like that to give you. And they were charging 75 bucks for it, okay? And I bought one because I love Billy Tucci and I love Billy Tucci She. I've got the... Check out the vid. I compared the Executive Replicas one versus the Dark Horse one that you can still find on eBay. Compared the two. I've got the 12-inch She blue box toy version. I do not have the Fison Seamless because I do not have $500 sitting around to put into a hunk of shit that's going to corrode and break. But I got the other one. I got the blue box incorporated one, right? Okay, so of course I jumped on and I got one of these things. And it's not worth the 75 bucks. If they're charging $69 for it, the quality of the figure, of the materials, of the design is not 69 bucks. I'm not afraid to say it. It's like a $30 figure. It might be a fun figure. It might have the fun of 70 bucks, but it's got the quality of 30 bucks. And I feel that these guys are overcharging people with all their figures, their Lady Death figure and their Hell Witch figure and their Lemurta figure and their She figure and their Red Sonja figure. They're bilking us, they're overcharging us. Those are not that good a quality. Also, the She action figure, right, came with another head and it was the exact same head, the exact same hair, but it was just neutral skin tone. Like the She action figure wears this white face kabuki like she's in Kiss or something. And this was just the exact same head but without the makeup. It wasn't like a scowl or a different hair or anything. It's just printed out more and one had white. Lame, super lame. I bilked on that, baby. Bilked hard by this company. So I can't necessarily get behind this, although, you know, I say please do not spend money on Funko. Do not spend money on Super 7. Do not spend money on Hasbro. If you're going to buy that Dragon Man, don't. Put the money back. Buy this. Buy this at least over the Dragon Man. However, this is a ripoff because of the She I bought and looking at this figure. This should be 30, 35 bucks, okay? It sounds like a rant, but hey, I spent money. I'm allowed to say exactly what quality I got for the money, and it feels unfair, and applying that knowledge to this figure, I feel it's unfair. But if you're a super fan of Zombie Tramp, you're going to buy it regardless. So no amount of what I'm saying is going to change that. Now, does that mean I don't like this action figure and I wouldn't want it and I would kick it out of bed? Nah, that's, you know, I'm sure it's fun. I'm just talking about the value of the figure versus the money they're asking. No one's saying it's trash, just saying it's not a $69 figure. It's a $30 figure that they're really kind of jacking up the price because they found that people were willing to go along with it. I'm not willing to go along with it, and I'm not afraid to tell people that I'm not going along with it. Now, what would really help this, although with just essentially one figure and a bunch of limited edition stuff, you know, if you're asking $15,000 to get $157,000, clearly you've knocked it out of the park. But they needed more than 15 for this. They really needed about 65, 70,000 is the traditional what you need to ask if you're just some goober coming off the street. They apparently either had the mold beforehand or parts of the mold or parts of the figures beforehand. This is probably reusing a lot of those red Sonia parts here or there, arms or legs or something. Or else they already had capital enough to get this thing going, and so the 15,000 is just kind of low, right? So in my opinion, they've sort of doubled what they really need, but they only have this one figure and a couple, you know, paint variants, which, by the way, when you're charging 70 bucks for your main figure and then you jack up $30 for one with a different paint scheme, right? That's lame. That's super lame, although that is pretty good, decent marketing. It is, in fact, in my opinion, a bit of a bilking and a bit of super lame, but this is what these guys do. They create demand for this thing, and so I'm not surprised that it hit what it did, but I don't think it's going to hit like 600,000 because they don't have enough figures. They do have lots and lots and lots of tchotchkes, though, and so if this thing, it's got 5 days to go. If this thing hits $180,000, I would say that that's perfectly on target. If it clears $200,000, I would be surprised. I would be shocked, although lots of things shock me, so who knows. So that's all I'm really going to say for this. I think the figure is totally overpriced. I think their limited edition is a genius marketing scheme. I think jacking up the price like 3 times as much the value for limited edition stuff is very genius on their end. I myself as a consumer am not having it, but as a marketing person, these guys are crushing it with this campaign. So, kind of an interesting way, and I hope that this sort of opinion and insight means something to you and that you got something, something out of it. And that hopefully, if you're new to the channel, you'll subscribe and come back for more of these beautifully entertaining marketing analysis Kickstarters, as well as I show off collections of my toys, as well as photography tips, and sometimes I just have a lot of entertaining stories. So everybody, you know what I'm saying, that's right, do what you can, stay charged.